Good afternoon, everyone. It is David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for your Tuesday evening, July the 11th, 2023. In this detailed discussion, we are going to update you on the very excessive heat that is building across the West, with temperatures that are expected to reach between 110 to 115 degrees. Some areas could reach 118 degrees, while other areas like Death Valley might make a run for 130 degrees on Sunday and Monday. Now, if you're new to the channel and you really like these videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends on social media. So without further ado, let's get started and take a look here at the European model as far as precipitation goes, because while it's hot for other locations, it might be stormy for others. So this look at this evening, we're going to fast forward this into tomorrow morning, and we can see more showers, more thunderstorms are expected to pop up across Iowa into the northern plains, including North Dakota there for your Wednesday morning. Maybe a storm or two here down across the southern portion there of Arkansas. This is for your Wednesday morning, July the 12th. By the afternoon on Wednesday, we can see showers popping up in the afternoon, but look at what we got going on across the Intermountain West. Not a whole lot of monsoon moisture, only a little bit down here across, say, southeastern Arizona, southwestern New Mexico, across central and northern Mexico country. That's where you have the monsoon, but otherwise really dry and quiet. That means it's going to get very hot by the end of this week into the weekend. Wait until you see the temperatures, folks. I mean, I swear, it's looking pretty bad. And wait until I show you how hot it's going to be for Death Valley, too. So by the time we go into Thursday, precipitation again continues across the upper Midwest. Showers, thunderstorms, some of them could be severe, capable of wind, and also some hail. That continues through the day on Friday. So by the 14th of July, we have a lot more rain coming across Vermont, New Hampshire. Yes, there has been some serious life-threatening flooding across Vermont. I saw some pictures of houses almost underwater because of a lot of flooding going on there. That's going to be continuing probably with on-again, off-again shower activity. And of course, across the upper Midwest, including the Great Lakes, you got showers on Friday that are anticipated, including for the Southeast. By Saturday and by Sunday, more showers in the afternoon, going to lead to more thunderstorm chances there. And you can see that continuing all the way into Sunday, all the way into Monday with these afternoon storms. But yeah, what you don't see here across much of the desert Southwest is the showers. You can see there, I've circled that in, it disappeared. But yeah, not a lot going on as far, and that disappeared again. There we go. So yeah, not a lot as far as showers go. You know, maybe some monsoonal activity in New Mexico, but otherwise pretty quiet for the most part. And that's going to lead to some serious hot temperatures, which we're going to discuss right now. So here's a look at those daytime temperature forecasts, okay? So we're going to kind of go day by day, because also the Midwest is going to get hot. Yes, that's why I'm showing the entire United States, because Texas, Oklahoma are under heat advisories. Yeah, heat products there too. And I'm afraid it might go a little further north by the middle of next week. So we can see here by tomorrow, look how hot it's going to be over Texas. This is your air temperature. Okay, in fact, if we do kind of zoom in a little closer, because again, I do care all about you that live here. Yeah, I mean 107, 110 degrees. I know you all are used to it by now, but I mean, come on. Heat advisories are issued for that area for that reasoning. 108 degrees, 105 in Kansas. It'll be very hot there for your Wednesday. But now zooming back out and looking at the rest of the United States, let's go into the day on Thursday. Not as, maybe a little cooler for California, about the same temperature for Arizona and California, southeastern portion and southern Nevada. But look at this, pretty hot here across the Midwest, all right? I repeat, pretty hot. Make sure you stay hydrated. You limit outdoor activities, primarily into the early morning hours, because of that humidity, and the hot temperatures will make it feel just even more hotter. In fact, our apparent air temperature about 100 to 105 degrees, maybe 110 in some areas. So just keep that in mind that it's going to be hot and kind of muggy, kind of sweltering out there. Let's go all the way into Friday. Now, this is when the heat builds back west. All right, you can see the purple here, definitely more widespread over the valley, over the desert southwest, going to be much hotter. All right, Texas, a bit cooler as far as your temperatures go for your Friday, but only a little bit cooler. All right, let's take a look closer zoomed in for the desert southwest, and we can see 115 degrees there. Let's go into Saturday now. Let's kind of zoom in, or not zoom in. Let's go forward. See this? See the GFS going really ballistic on these temperatures now. I don't think it's going to get 118 degrees in Fresno or in Red Bluff, but we're probably going to get up and around 112, maybe 115 degrees, maybe even 116 at most, which is pretty hot. It won't matter here because temperatures at or above 110 degrees for several hours will lead to some serious major to extreme heat risk, including for the desert southwest between 115 to 100 and even 18 degrees. Now, while Death Valley is not looking that bad on this map, remember, the GFS is not a high resolution model, so it's not going to resolve equations on a microscopic scale. That's when we have to use the National Weather Service forecast for the time being. And we'll look at that in just a second. But I promise you, Death Valley will reach well over 125 degrees for both Saturday, Sunday, and even on Monday. And then, of course, for the Pacific Northwest, 100 plus degrees are anticipated for Sunday or Saturday and Sunday. Let's go into the next day here for Sunday. And I think Sunday is gonna be interesting because we got the onshore breeze right here. So like areas like Galt and Lodi, maybe a degree or two cooler on Sunday, while other areas here might be hotter on Sunday. Might get up to 117 degrees in Fresno, maybe 118 degrees there in Red Bluff and Redding. Again, the GFS may be a little aggressive, but wow, 106 to 110 degrees up here in Washington, including for Death Valley here, 123.5 degrees. And that's from the GFS model, folks. That's not a high resolution model. All right, and then probably as hot there in the desert southwest. I mean, look at this. For Monday, for Tuesday, just sweltering hot there across Arizona and California. Now, I do want to show you all the Midwest because this gets a little concerning. This has been on the last 5 model runs, and so that's why I'm going to be talking about it. I'm not going to talk about something unless it gets my attention. So as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, the heat builds, right? We know Texas is going to be hot, but look it up here in the Dakotas as well as Missouri into Kansas, 105 to 111 degrees. Now, if we go back at previous runs, it may be a little cooler here. It's been kind of back and forth, but kind of right in here, been pretty consistent and solid with the triple-digit temperatures. The 0-6Z run, 112 degrees, 113 degrees. This is last night's run. 0Z run, the previous one, still very hot over Oklahoma. And we go back to 18Z run, not as bad. So like 5 model runs ago, still over 100 in Texas, which means that's probably going to verify versus areas further to the north, a little more uncertain. But wow, if this happens, boy, it's gonna be torture. It's gonna be very hot, 110 to 115 degrees here in the Dakotas, in Iowa, which is roughly about 15 to 25 degrees above normal for this time of the year. So some really hot temperatures potentially for the plains and also for the northern tier of the U.S. And that could continue all the way through the end of next week. If we look at the next 10 days, that's how it would end up being. Now, the European model, I'm just going to fast forward through this so I'm not boring you all. But I wanted to just tell you all, still the same ordeal for the desert southwest especially. The European model wants 116 degrees on Friday. And then this is the 18Z run. Let's go to the 12Z run. This is the complete run. Yeah, look at this. 110 to 100 and I would say about 116 degrees for Fresno. That's probably with what I'm going with at this point. 120 degree temperature plus in the desert southwest. And then on Sunday, Probably a degree or two hotter here on the European model, between 116, maybe 118 degrees, 119 specifically if you look just at one model run, and that's the Euro. Going pretty aggressive on this forecast, over exaggerating perhaps. And then look at southeastern California, between 120 to 123 degrees, and then it gets worse beyond that. Look, it's still very hot for Fresno and Bakersfield on Monday and on Tuesday. Finally, we lose the heat, at least on Tuesday and Wednesday next week. So now, why is it going to get so hot? What's the deal with this? You probably are asking me, like, what's going to lead to such hot temperatures like this? Well, if we take a look here at the GFS geopotential height, so I show this product quite often, and I like using it because, you know, it gives us an idea with what the atmosphere is actually doing. So I'm going to just show the western half of the U.S. because this is where the ridge is likely going to be. And so today, the ridge is building northward, okay? That's the whole talk, the last few videos that I've made, and I've talked about how this ridge would evolve and move northward. That seems to be the case today, how this ridge has done that. By Wednesday and Thursday, the next couple of days, we kind of take a pause with our heat. We're in the mid to upper 90s, away from records and near seasonal averages for this time of the year, because this ridge is not building further north, right? It kind of stops building because what we have going on here, if we back this out, we have a trough. See this trough here approaching Oregon and Washington? This is going to help flatten this ridge out. So this bubble of hot air is not able to move northward as this trough is moving to the northeast. But once this trough moves out into the northern plains on Thursday and Friday, you'll see here on the GFS model, this ridge then begins to migrate further west and then will build off to the north. And we can see these heights build, 591, 594, and it continues to build. Look at this. By Friday, we are up to 597 decameters. That's pretty anomalously high for this time of the year. You can see the outline of this bubble of hot air that is just going to be right on top of the desert Southwest, including for California. And this continues to build on Saturday. You can see it right here, and that's why I think Saturday and Sunday right now for the time being look to be the hottest days because of how strong this high actually is. 597 decameters, probably in the middle of this, probably approaching 600 decameters, which is 6,000 meters to find the 500 millibar. Remember, just because we see the 500 millibar level, because of the fluid dynamics, the 500 millibar resides at all different levels, except, of course, at the surface. And so when you get higher heights like this, these are thicknesses, your 500 millibar height or your 500 millibar level is actually higher than it should be. And that's when you get these ridges versus where when you get these troughs, the 500 millibar level is actually lower than it can be. And that's when you get these troughs. So kind of illustrating, this is where our hotter air is going to be on Saturday. And then by Sunday, yeah, there's 600 decameters right there on the GFS model. I'll show you the Euro here in just a second, but take note also this flow 2 coming in out of the southeasterly direction over California. Why this is important is it's going to cancel off any onshore influence. Maybe by the coast and by the Bay Area region, Southern California might get the onshore breeze at the coast. But when you get inland, there's not going to be a whole lot of onshore breezes to keep you all cool. And that's why. Now, when we look at the European model really quickly here, let's go to the 12Z run because that's a complete run. Yeah, you can see how much stronger this ridge actually is sampled by the Euro, which I think is why the Euro is a little bit more aggressive with temperatures across the valley, which is why I think we're going to be in that book of 110 to 115 at least, with isolated areas that might get higher than 115, like Fresno, Bakersfield, Visalia, Madera, perhaps down towards Turlock. But look at this, up towards Red Bluff and Redding might also make a run for 115 plus. Of course, down here in the desert Southwest is going to be very hot too. And then that ridge is going to still be in place, but notice how this ridge flattens out by early next week. And that's why I think we should take an ease, or we should ease out of this heat wave beginning on Tuesday next week. Monday, a couple of degrees cooler, but still well in excess of 100 degrees. It might not be until Tuesday until we get relief. So now, another product that I like to use here, it's hard to find here, but there will be a link in the description, but it's what we call it's the heat risk prototype. So it gives us an idea what the risk of heat exhaustion, heat stroke actually is based on categories. So yellow being minor, so there's probably not going to be a whole lot of heat stroke because you're used to the heat by this point. This is also factoring in overnight lows, your body adapting to this hot weather too. So on Thursday, if we go to Wednesday, we can see minor to moderate heat risks. If we actually click on this, we can see your forecast is here, yellow, then we get into orange and across portions of Lodi and Stockton. All right, and then down here, we're already in the moderate to major heat risk. So major is pretty serious. That's a code red. All right, and then, of course, look at the purples on your screen. We'll be looking at Death Valley here in just a second, though. Grand finale, best for last, we should say. By Thursday, then by Friday, look at this. More widespread moderate and major heat risk. By Saturday, you can see here some areas in purple here. Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, you're seeing extreme. Okay, 120 degrees perhaps there, according to the National Weather Service out of Phoenix, Arizona. So really hot in days to come for Saturday. Then by Sunday, look at this. Look at a lot of purple and red on your screen. That is major to extreme. And remember, extreme, this level of heat is very rare and long duration. Extreme heat with little to no overnight relief effects. Anyone without effective cooling or adequate hydration, impacts likely in most health systems, heat-sensitive industries and infrastructure could also fail. Yeah, infrastructure, power grids could fail because of how hot it is and the extreme heat risk that is involved. So yeah, just take this seriously, all right? Even in Oregon, Washington, moderate to major heat risk in isolated areas up there. That's far north, and it is going to be that hot. And then it migrates further south, but still, look at this. Lots of orange and red and purple colors. You don't want to see that, to be quite honest. So now, here's a look at the risk of hazardous temperatures. Of course, yes. New Mexico, Arizona, excessive heat is high. That's a guarantee through the 20th of July. Moderate risk for excessive heat across Texas, for Florida, also for Utah. I didn't mention much about Utah, but Utah could get well over 100 degrees, 95 to 105 degrees. Higher elevations like Park City, Utah, some of the higher, like the Wasatch Front, might get temperatures up and around, say, 80 to 95 degrees. Yeah, it can be very warm in the higher elevations too. For California, a slight risk for excessive heat, but again, that is after our heat wave. That's going to be from the 19th through the 25th, which the 19th is on Wednesday next week. So even so it's slight for California, that's again after we get through this heat wave that we're going to be experiencing this weekend. So looking at the National Weather Service, this is the latest update. And yes, there is heat advisories, heat warnings out for Texas, for Oklahoma, flood watches for northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, severe thunderstorm watches out for the northern High Plains, the northern Rockies, and then, yes, look at all of that magenta and maroon red colors. Yeah, that's excessive heat warnings, heat watches that are issued, and one of those excessive heat warnings actually are in Death Valley, and I mean, it should be extreme heat warning because of how hot these temperatures are going to get. And actually, let's take a look at that really quickly. I know you guys are like, why does David need to show Death Valley? I don't want to know Death Valley. It's history. We could see historic highs there, and not just historic highs, but I mean world-breaking historic high temperatures. So let's go to Furnace Creek. The lowest elevation is over here, just to the east, or to the west of Death Valley, the town. And we can see 118 degrees here, right? 119, we get that right. That's what we're all expecting by the weekend. Look at this, 125 on Friday, 128 on Saturday, and off the forecast, look at that overnight low, 100 degrees. Yeah, triple digits, 24 hours perhaps here. So then on Sunday, okay, follow me, 130 degrees. Right here, folks. I'm going to box this in red for you all so you can see that easily. So I'm not hyping this up. I'm not making this up. 130 degrees. 101 Sunday night. 129 degrees on Monday. And 100 degrees Monday night. So we could be looking at 72 hours here or over that with temperatures at or above 100 degrees, even at night, and perhaps over 125 or even 130 degrees on Sunday, Monday, and close, maybe even on Saturday, we could see temperatures like all these. I've boxed this in red, by the way. Those are temperatures at or above 100 degrees. So, yeah, if you're going to Death Valley this weekend, don't go, please. Don't drive on the roadways. By the way, the pavement could reach over 190 to 200 degrees, so you might have a risk of popping your tires in your vehicle or on your vehicle, and your engine could overheat and probably blow up because of how hot these temperatures actually are. So consider that before you go to Death Valley. I don't think anyone's going though. All right, but anyways, if you did enjoy this video, folks, please consider subscribing if you're new, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends. As always, folks, please stay cool, stay inside with the AC blasting. Well, not blasting to the fullest with your temperature set to 64 degrees, but keep it high enough to where you're not overwhelming the power grid. And also, just drink, and stay in the shade if you're working outside. Wear sunscreen, wear protective clothing, because it's going to be hot. Like me, I work sometimes, and I work outside, and it's not pretty when temperatures get this hot. So please, please stay hydrated. Let's not overwhelm the healthcare systems because people are not staying hydrated. But that is all for today's update. I will be back in the office tomorrow afternoon and evening with another detailed update on this oppressive heat wave.